So, you turn 30, or you're already in your early 30s, and you're probably asking questions around this time like, well, what am I supposed to have figured out by this time? Okay, what's important? What's not important? In this video, we're going to find out. We're going to touch briefly on topics like social conditioning, religion, marketing, and also how your ego holds you back. So if you don't know me, I'm Dice. I help young, analytically and logically minded men that are just like you. I help you to discover your purpose so that you can live your life with clarity, meaning, and direction. Hey, if you like this sort of content, then hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget the bell notification. You've got to hit that bell. I hope for you to miss out on any content. And together we can actually grow this channel and reach this out to more men. So yeah, with that being said, let's get cracking into the video. So by now you should be seeing past things like marketing, social conditioning, and especially religion, okay? I know this is going to be a highly controversial topic, but bear with me, it could potentially change the course and direction of your life. So at least in part, you should be recognizing how some of these things are actually like making mediocre people at best. Potentially you could become another cog in the machine, and how you're sort of just being lulled into mediocrity very, very slowly, very, very subliminally, okay? I hate to break it to you, but some of your favorite influences and some of the things that you consume on a daily basis, and I don't mean just food, are sort of just like completely full of shit, and they don't actually have your best interests in mind, okay? These are just like products that have been like masterfully put together, masterfully marketed so that you, the consumer, can just like consume unconsciously and people can just take advantage of you. Maybe you're starting to realize that if you blend into this culture, this consuming culture, that you're just going to get mediocre results at best and probably potentially become one of these cogs in the machine. Or maybe you're recognizing that you already are a cog in the machine and you're trying to break out of that so that you can live the best life possible. So let me touch on religion briefly, okay? This is the controversial part. So maybe you're starting to recognize how some of like the rituals and the behaviors that you have to engage in as part of this religion, like they are sort of like pushing you away from your purpose, your potential, and they're not supporting you at your best. Also, there's sort of like a culture that's around this religion that you're sort of like, you know, I don't know if I really want to be part of this anymore. Like on one hand, you like the people and you care about the people that are part of the religion. Maybe it's even family members, and like you're trying to work out, where do you fit in all this? Well, maybe you don't. Maybe around now you should be starting to realize that you can't accept things on like, excuse me. Oh, got something in my eye. Anyway, maybe around now you should be starting to realize that you shouldn't actually accept things on like face value, okay? Not to be a derper, okay? You're realizing that up until this point you may have potentially been a derper, and like you've actually taken on a lot of concepts that you're trying to like weed out of your life. And this is sort of giving you a bit of anxiety on how to get out of that, okay? Because it's not something that you want to be in anymore. Why? Because you're recognizing that if you're an unconscious entity, you could potentially be taking advantage of people that are just a little bit smarter than you, that don't necessarily have your best interests in mind. So everybody has an ego, including me. But hopefully by now, leading up to 30, you're starting to realize that there's some people out there that are actually aware of their own ego and they're able to put it aside for a moment, seek help, and then they just generally are able to do better in life. They just generally go further. It's a bit scary to realize that there's a separate entity that's inside your head that doesn't actually have your best interests in mind. Like on the surface, like the voice inside your head will tell you things that if you take a step back for a moment, it's objectively not true. And it becomes hard for you to recognize what is your higher self, what is your like lower self, and what is actually your ego, like who's actually talking inside your head. It's a bit of a scary experience to have that self-actualization. But like if you need some help with this, I'm more than happy to help, and maybe you could reach out to me on Instagram. Or if you're not at that stage at this point, that's completely fine. Just hit the subscribe button and wait for some more content. I'm happy to help. The point that I'm getting at is your ego is holding you back from changing, okay? Derek has this saying somewhere in one of his videos that he talks about, and he says, the ego thinks that you're already a king, okay? Your ego just wants to hold you in place and keep you with getting food in your mouth and getting more potential to get those dopamine spikes in whichever way it can. So if you were like me, you've probably been very stubborn for a long time and like pushing off this ego awareness and the diving in of like self-development and self-awareness. you're starting to realize that you can't bullshit yourself anymore. You can't lie to yourself anymore. You can't fool yourself anymore to gain like self-esteem and self-confidence like you once did easily and cheaply when you're in your younger years. Once you go down the rabbit hole, once you recognize that there's actually this self-improvement thing that you can do called self-development, there's no real turning back. Like once you've actually started to go down that path, you're realizing that you've hit a certain level of critical mass of information that you wouldn't be able to live the rest of your life without that, knowing that your life could have been potentially better if you decided to give up. So that's a really scary thought. Oh, how much you wish you could actually go back and put yourself back into the matrix like Cypher did.
After 9 years, you know what I realized? Ignorance is bliss.
So through the diminishment of ego, you start to get a better sense of reality, okay? You start to get a better sense on your expectations and where you are on the map of self-development, how high or low you are objectively, okay? You're able to remove yourself and look at it from a third-person view a little bit better. So you're asking questions about yourself, and you're also saying things like, well, you know, I'm not doing like the best that I can. I could probably improve that. I'm not really fulfilling my utmost potential. However, this is where I'm at, and I'm just going to do the best with what I have. You know, for me, my videos aren't that good at the moment, okay? I haven't really worked out all the little like nitbits of the video. I haven't got any artwork yet, but you know, my self-esteem and my confidence in producing these videos has improved in the knowing that this is where I'm at, and I can see other influences out there, and that's where I could be, but it's going to take me some time and consistency to get there. Hey, if you got something out of this video, then hit the subscribe button and also that bell. Don't forget the bell. I hate for you to miss out on any of this content, because the next video is hopefully going to be the last video in this series and sort of like cram it all together. Hey, if this video resonated with you and you resonate with my message and you're picking up what I'm putting down, maybe you and I could work together. If that's something that you're interested in, send me a message on Instagram and we can actually start a conversation. I feel like in this day and age, like a lot of people, they are all connected, but they're not really like talking to each other. You know, you might have some issues with your identity and you're not really sure who you are. You're trying to work out how you can diminish your ego, and you need more of like a logical and pragmatic and very systematic way about personal development and also self-actualization. You and I could potentially get on a one-on-one discovery call and see if we're actually a good fit to work with each other. See if we're meant to come together on this journey we call life. And yeah, if we end up being a good fit, then I'll put you through my mentoring program, and I'll do my very best to be able to change your life for the better. So yeah, if you're not really at a stage for that, that's completely fine. Just hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. That'll help out the channel a great deal, and we can spread this message together to more men. With that being said, thanks so much for watching. Dice out.